This conference will now be recorded.
Let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Okay. So this is robotics process automation developer training of a blueprism tool. Okay. So in that we have following objectives, right? We will discuss about the definition, best use cases, how do you identify the scope for RPA processes, what is planning, what is life cycle, what are all the benefits we will going to get it by using by implementing this RPA tool, and how many leading vendors are available for RPA tool. Okay, so these are all the objectives of the session. So what exactly the RPA, right? RPA is nothing but robotics process automation. It's a software technology that enable us to create rules and logics to effectively mimic a user action on a computer, thereby interacting with the different software systems at the graphical user interface or presentation layer, the same level as human users of the system. Okay, so what exactly the RPA means in a short, whatever associates, right, backend operations team. So mostly this will be used to automate most of the processes which backend operations does, right? So probably they will be logging into the system, downloading the data from the application, manipulating the data, providing the logics, right? And after that, again sending the data to the end users or customers, or uploading the data into the applications. Okay, so they will do a day-to-day activities, repetitive tasks, right? So instead of doing these kind of repetitive tasks by the human, whatever they does it, right, it will mimic the same activity by using the blue prism tool. Okay, whatever he does, we will mimic, right? So that is called the robotics process automation. Okay, and what are the best use cases to identify the robotics, identify the scope for the processes. Uh, First one is a dual data entry scenarios. Okay, like data manually entered in one system need not to be re-entered manually in any other systems. RPA replaces such dual human efforts since invoices are indexed in the workflow and then manually re-entered into the ERP systems. So what exactly this means is no need to manually enter the data in one application and again manually entering into the other application. Okay, whenever these kind of scenarios are there, then that is the best use case for automating that process, right? So wherever we are entering the data, those kind of processes we can able to automate. And one more best use case is state through processing, right? Inputs arriving from various systems such as web pages for customer orders, workflows for invoices, emails, or Excel files must be entered into the ERP systems. However, if the input is clean and the rules are well laid out, the data entry done through robotics automation. So here we are discussing about the inputs. Okay, so let's say if we wanted to perform any of the activities, right, then we may require some inputs what exactly we need to do. For example, in an organization, new employee joins, right? So what information we need to do, we need to collect, or what organization generally takes the data like name, his PAN card, his Aadhaar card. If he is experienced candidate, then previous organization offer letters, relieving letters, joining date, last working date, last paid out date, right? All these information will be taken by the organization, right, in a proper format, right? They will be having some formats, right? So those formats, they need it, okay? They may require that format in an Excel sheet, or they may require that format in the email communication, right? Or they may be required that in that format in any other mm, applications, okay? So input should be clear, okay, and rule based. Then we can able to capture those kind of for use cases for the automations, okay, in a single line. So inputs we may receive in a Excel sheet or applications or by emails, we can able to automate the rest of the processes, okay. And one more is the virtual integration between the different systems, like standalone, legacy, ERP or workflow systems often don't talk to each other, right? And integrating them would cost millions of dollars and precious IT time. Robotics automation can provide lightweight integration connecting or connectors disparate systems at the user interface level. For example, we wanted to integrate more than two systems, right? System A is there, or application A is there, application B is there, application C is there. Okay. We wanted to integrate application A to B and B to C and C to A, or any direction, right? How do we integrate? Because application A is in Java platform, application B is in .NET platform, and application C is in some other language. But we need to integrate these things. But when it comes to uh, development of integrating these things will take a lot of efforts and lot of time and lot of money involved. But by using the RPA, we can able to integrate multiple applications, and we can transfer the data from one system to another system in the same format which will going to accept by the other system. Okay, we will be having the blue prism connectors. For example, I need to get the data from one application, right? And that application is sending the data to AWS cloud, right? So we can able to extract the data from AWS cloud. We can manipulate the data. We can create the data in such a way that application B can able to consume the data. Okay. In the same way, if application web application is there, and in web application we need to enter the data up application B, which is a SAP application. So still we can able to connect or integrate application web application as well as SAP applications, okay. So in a single line you can just assume that, okay, wherever we are communicating with the different systems, right, there we can implement the RPA processes, and that is the best use case. Another one is responding to the data extraction and reporting request. When data and a report requests come from multiple process owners, vendors, and even end customers, employees logs into the system should extract the data, format it, and send an email to the requester. RP automation lends itself very well in such rule-based tasks. Okay, so if you are requiring any of the reports, right? So for example, in any of the organization, if client requires a report, okay, that reports will be generated from the multiple systems. Okay, if we need to take the data from multiple systems, and we need to provide, and we need to create a output of that particular report, right? So in that we will be taking or we will be providing some rules when we are integrating with the multiple reports. For example, employee ID is there in uh, report A. Okay, based upon the employee ID, we need to capture some information in report B, and we need to capture some information in report C. Then prepare a finalized output. Right. In such cases, we can able to implement RPA, right? So because if the rules are well laid out, then RPA is the best suitable platform to generate the reports. And the final one is rule-based decision making. Robotics automation can execute decisions based on the task provided. Rules driving those decisions are well laid out. Okay, wherever there are some business rules are defined. Okay, so Blue Prism is best automation tool to implement those things. So, any queries before we move to the next slide? Okay, silent means I can move to the next slide. Okay, and here you can see it. Okay, take over repetitive tasks that employees carry out 50 to 60 times in a day. Right, the first and foremost rule is if there is a repetitive work available, right, then that is the best use case for RPA. Okay, and that is the first rule. Okay, wherever the repetitive work is there, the employees are doing repetitive work. Okay, back end operations, they are doing the repetitive work. Okay, there we can able to implement the RPA. And periodic reporting and data entry and data analysis, right, this we already discussed it. Mass email generation, archiving, extracting, right? So whether we need to send the email or whether we need to read the data from the email, and according to that we need to perform some other activities, then it will be useful for to prepare a RPA process. And conversions of data formats and graphics, right? So whenever we need to convert the data formats, right, from one format to another format, there also we can utilize RPA. And ERP transactions, okay, day-to-day transactions are day-to-day activities done by the operations guys, right, that we can able to automate. Process list and file storage, if we wanted to store the files, right, in the shared drive locations or AWS cloud or any other locations based upon the business requirement, we can able to implement the RBA. What are the key things to identify the scope? Okay, how do we identify the scope? Right, first one is the human factor. Okay, total FTE count in the process, right? How many FTE benefits we are getting it. So, for example, in a process, when there is a process there, let's assume that 10 resources are working. Okay, by implementing the RPA we can eliminate 10 resources. At least 9 resources we can eliminate, one resources we can still have it. If there are any issues comes, then he can able to take care, right? So first one is a human factor, FTE, right? And based upon the FTE benefits we can able to scope or descope the process. If let's say there are no FTE benefits, then that is not suitable for RPA. Next, monthly volume of the work being done. Okay, RPA will be used when there is a lot of volume information is there. For example, some process needs to be done. Okay, assume that that is 8 hours of work. Okay, that we will do it once in a month, right? Then there is no need of implementing that into the RPA, because if we are performing 8 hours of work in a month, then we don't see any benefits by automating that, right? Because we will be investing a lot of resources, developers, and we should be allocating the bots, right? So we don't see any benefit on that, right? So let's say we are performing some hundreds of thousands of data, like whether it is creation, modify, or deletion, any kind of data, right, or payroll processing, right? So if the volume is huge, right, and in a day if there is a volume of 10,000 requests or 1,000 requests or 500 requests, then that is the best suitable to do the automation, because we will be getting a lot of benefits. and lead time involved. Wherever most of the leads time involved, there we can able to do a automation. And SLA. Okay, so for example, uh, if we have a very limited SLA, right? If a SLA is 2 hours or SLA is 6 hours or SLA is 24 hours, then that is the best suitable for automating the processes. And complexity, second attribute is a complexity. Okay, development time is proportional to complexity involved in the process. Okay, the more the process is complex, then definitely it will take more time to develop that particular process. Huh? And in that case we may going to come up with a lot of issues like new pop-ups and all those things. Okay, so if the complexity is low, right, then development time will also takes less time. If the complexity is more, then development time will also take more time. And third attribute is process stability, right? So let's say we have designed a process. Okay, because designing the process mean to say that we need to spy the, or we need to interact with the applications, we need to spy all the elements of the applications. Okay, and if there is a change in the application, right, product side, if the application behavior is changed, if application, let's say, uh, in an application, initially it will be 10 items on the screen, and application owner has added or deleted one item from the screen, right? Then the HTML elements will not be the same, right? Then in that case our blue prism will not work. Okay, what is the condition to work the blue prism? The process, the application should be uh, standard, right? It should not change frequently. Okay, if it is changing once in 6 months, twice in a year, with minimal changes, then we can able to go for automation. Let's say if application is changing for every 2 months or every 3 months or every 4 months with lot of changes in the application side, then we will not recommend to do the automation, because again we need to spy all those elements in the by using the RPA tool. Okay, so in a simple line, don't take up the processes where the process keeps changing or where the application keeps changing. Okay, the application product owner is keep providing the new releases. Okay. And one more parameter is input type. Okay, input type should be structured way. Okay, if whatever you are sending the data to the blue prism, that should be in a structured way. They need to send the data in agreed format. Okay, they can't send the data in one format today and next day in another format. For example, if they are sending the data to the blue prism, assume that in this way: name of the associate, ID of the associate, department of the associates. Okay, if they are agreed and they are sending the data in this format to do the rest of the activities, then they need to send it in this format only. They can't send the data once the development is done. They can't send the first column as a organization, second column as a employee ID. No, it doesn't work, right? So they need to discuss and define the input structure in advance so that they can send the data into the same structure to the blue prism, because whatever the structure agreed, on that structure only the development will going to start, right? This is the robotics process automation tool. It's not a artificial intelligence tool, but most of the SMEs assumes that it works as a artificial intelligence tool, but it doesn't work like that. Okay, next, error rates. Okay, a good number of human errors in a process can be useful for automation standpoint, right? Let's say, for example, you are into the banking domain, right? If you are performing any activities, right, if instead of sending $100, if you are sending $1,000, right, then it is a big loss for the organization. Okay, when, for example, your organization is a payroll organization, you are performing the payroll. Instead of sending 1 lakh amount, if you are processing uh, 10 lakhs amount, right? Then it will be a loss to the organization, right? Wherever humor involvement is there, wherever we see that yes, there may be a chances of risk, then that is the best to suitable for RPA automation. Are we clear about identifying the scope? These two slides. If we are clear, then we can proceed for next slide.
Sir, in the previous slide, there is a complexity is there.
Mhm.
In the like I did not get what complexity means, but whenever it is their complexity, we will use RPA, or else if there is no complexity, we will use RPA.
Good question. Okay. Let's say there is a complexity is also there. Okay. So you asked
Yeah.
whether we need to go for the development or not. Okay. End of the day, what matters? Benefits matters. Money matters, right? For example, there is a complexity process, but 20 resources are working on it, right? 20 FTE, full-time employees, okay? 20 resources are working on it, okay? If we automate that process, we can able to release 18 to 19 18 to 19 resources, right? So we are saving 19 resources amount, right? They don't need to pay for 19 resources if we automate that complex process. Is that right?
Yes.
Right? So we are getting the benefits of 19 FTEs. So for example, there is a complexity process. We are getting only one FTE. Will you able to automate that? No. Okay. So we
No.
need to consider all the aspects. Okay. We need to consider benefit also. If we are getting 19 FTE benefits, then it's a very great achievement, right? 19 FTE benefits is a big matter in an organization. If one FTE means it, I don't think that will be a lot of benefit because we are investing lot of developers over here. We are investing licensing cost also, right? So they will consider all the factors, human factors, complexity, process stability, input type, manual errors. Okay, these are all the parameters. Based upon the parameters, if they are getting more benefits, then only that will be picked for the RPA. If they are, let's say if they are getting the less benefits, for example, one BU is there, okay, discovery phase, I involved in the discovery phase, I have identified 10 processes, okay, after 10 processes we will be discussing with the all the stakeholders, okay, this process we are getting this benefit, this much of FTE benefit, this process we are getting this much of FTE benefits, in that way, okay. If business want to go for that benefits, right, we will decide, okay, which order we need to develop, which one is getting the more benefits, we will pick up that item first for the RPA development. Did I answer your query?
Yes, sir. Like what I'm asking is, if there is complexity in the task or anything, we will choose RPA or no. That was my question.
Yes,
I
we can
understood
able to
what
go
you're
for
telling, like
RPA. Yes, we can able to go for RPA if we are having the more benefits, more FTE benefits. If we are less, if we are having less FTE benefits, then it is not suggestible to pick up the RPA because if benefit is not there, then why do we develop? Even though if it is a complexity.
okay.
Okay. These factors are all interrelated. Okay. Even though if we are having 19 benefits, let's assume that the process stability is not there. For every 2 months or 3 months, the process will get changed. Okay, application gets changed. Then if application gets changed, again you need to respy those elements. Again, you need development efforts. Even though you are getting 19 FTE benefits, if the process stability is not there, if the application is keep on changing, then will you go for automation?
No.
No, we will not go for automation. Why? Every time we need to involve one developer dedicatedly or two developer dedicatedly for that particular process. And it is not advisable to do that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So all these attributes, right? Human factor, complexity, process stability, input type, error rate, these are interrelated. Okay, any other questions, guys, before we move further? No? Okay, thanks. Okay, so initially what they do, the planning, right? Automation planning. So first phase is nothing but the discovery phase. Okay, in discovery phase, all the high level managers, right, and directors, and who has a good understanding of the RPA methodology, right, or RPA architects been involved in the discovery phases. Okay, in discovery phase, RPA architect or RPA lead will try to understand, okay, whether we can um, do this process automate or not, right? And in that meetings, SMEs or businesses will just give us the overview, high level information about the process. Okay, this is the web application, we need to do some we need to download some application files, and we need to do some validations, we need to apply the business logic, then we need to send this data to some XYZ stakeholders, something like that. A high level discussion will going to happen in the discovery phase, right? Then next comes the process assessment. Okay, here we will go in detail, like, right, okay, what exactly the SME performs or does in a day-to-day life when it comes to processing any of the activity. Okay, so SME will going to show us end-to-end process. Okay, what way which URL he will going to launch, right? And once he launched, where he will go, what is his navigation, what he will do, what kind of data he will enter, what kind of data he will download, from where he will go download. So all step by step process walkthrough will be done by the SME. Okay, that is nothing but the as is process. Okay, as is process is nothing but what generally currently SME is performing the activity, right, on the computer system is nothing but as is process. And in that, he will design or he will explain some high level maps. Okay, the data will come in this system, it will perform some validation, then go into this system, then again from that XYZ system again it will went to another system, and then finally data will be sent to so and so. So they will be preparing the maps. Okay, then finally evaluating the RPA vendors. Okay, what is the best tool to implement these processes? Okay, maybe they will go for the Blue Prism, or they will go for the automation anywhere UI path. Based upon the discussion, they will decide it. Okay, and in that they will decide, okay, what are all the benefits they are going it. Okay, like how much time they are going to save by automating these processes, how much benefits in terms of amount, right? How many dollars are they are going to get benefits once these processes they will automate, how many FTEs they can able to release from this process once the automation is ready, right? Those things will be discussed in the business case approvals. And how much cost will be going to take place when it comes to RPA team, as a RPA team. Okay, we are going for automation, how much we need to pay until all the automations has been completed. Okay, then approvals. Okay, once they get the approval, then they can go for the RPA development. Okay, here the life cycle. So at high level there will be few modules. Okay, first one is the discovery phase, second one is the design phase. Okay, in discovery phase we will identify the scope. Okay, what are the processes we can able to automate. Then designing phase, in designing phase we will design like um, mm, solution design document, we will going to prepare it. So in that, okay, how many objects we will going to create, how many processes we will going to create, what are all the business exceptions, what are the system exceptions, all those things we will capture in the HDD document. Okay, So once the design phase is done, then development will going to kickstart. In development, we will automate the process by using the blueprism tool. Once the development is done, then unit testing will be performed with the end users or SMEs. Once unit testing is done and once the SMEs provide the UAT sign up, then moving that code into the production environment. Okay, once everything works as is expected in the production, then finally we will move that process to support handover. Right, once the support handover is done, then again developer will going to pick up new process. Right, so once we handed over the processes to support team, then business will calculate, right, how many benefits they are getting it. Okay, whether they can go for few more automation or not, all those things they will going to calculate once we handed over the processes to support team. Okay, and what are all the benefits by implementing the RPA? First of all, return on investment, right? Everyone sees the same thing. Okay, if I invest 10 rupees, how much I am getting the benefits, right? Here, return of investment within the 3 months. This is a averagely we will calculate it. Okay, if he invested for 1 billion, right? Probably in 4 months or 5 months, he will going to get that returns. Okay, so that much of benefits he will going to get it. Okay, averagely within 3 to 5 months he will get the returns what he has invested in that um, blue prism tool. Second benefit is improvement in customer satisfaction, right? There will be a minimal errors, processing time will be reduced, right? And it will perform very accurately. It will going to provide the results. So at the end, their clients will be also happy, right? Third benefit is 80%, up to 80% reduction in AST is nothing but average handling time. Let's say one person is doing that activity, okay, performing that activity for 1 hour. Then if we are doing that activity by you implementing the RPA, that can able to execute within 15 minutes, or that may be executable within 10 minutes, or that may be executable within 30 minutes. Okay, so based upon process to process, but it may go up to 80% of reduction in average handling time. Okay, if human doing 1 hour, then for bot it may going to take 15 minutes. Third, next benefit is no impact on the security, as RPA only does what agents does, right? Obviously, there will not be any security incident. Why there will not be any security incidents? Because RPA will be performed, or RPA will be run on the business logics. Like once we laid out, or once we decided that okay, this is the business logic for automating these things, then it will run in the same way. But when it comes to humans, sometimes he may going to do the mistakes, right? But once we put some logic into the blue prism or any other automation tools, then it will work based upon that logic only. Okay, so due to that there is no impact on the security. And one more benefit is same head count for triple the activity, right? If three members are doing one activity, then robo can only one robo can able to do three members activity. Okay, because it's very fast. Okay, and what are the tools available in the market, right? Blue prism, UiPath, automation anywhere, work fusion, OpenSpan, and many more tools are available in the market. Okay, but leading tools are blue prism. Top two tools are blue prism and UiPath. Okay, then followed by automation anywhere and other tools. Any questions guys till this point?
Yeah.
Are we good? Okay, silent means we are good. Okay. Let's go to the tool now. I will just give a brief idea about the tool. Okay, this is the blue prism tool. We need to double click on it. Okay, then we need to enter user ID followed by the password. Okay, once you log in, the screen will visible like this. Okay, and you can see here there are different tabs: home, studio, control, analytics, release, digital exchange, system, my profile. Okay, these are all the same, you can access in this way. Okay, or you can access from in this way as well. Okay, both are same. Okay, this is the control room. You can click here for control room, or else you can click control tab. Okay, studio, you can able to click here, or you can click here. Both are same. Okay, so let me go to the studio. Okay, in studio will be divided into two parts. Okay, one is the process, one is the object. Okay, we need to build the processes in process studio, we need to build the objects in the object studio. Okay, we will discuss what is the process and what is the object in a later stages. Okay, so you just remember that. Okay, in the studio we will be having the two modules, one is the processes and one is the object. Okay, and 90% of the development will be done in these two modules only, processes and objects. Okay, so we have another tab that is a control. Okay, so generally everyone calls this as a control room. Okay, the control room is nothing but it's a orchestrator, right? So what all the processes are available, right? So which process has to run on the which machine. Okay, what is the current status, and checking the logs, everything will be done in the control room. Here you can see the control room is divided into the three modules. One is the session management, another is a queue management, another is the schedulers. Okay, and right side, if we see here, we can able to see available processes in the session management. Available processes in nothing but whatever the processes we have designed, we can able to see all those information over here, all the processes over here, right? Resources is nothing but the bots, right? How many bots are allocated for this particular BU, right? All the bot details you can able to see it. And environment, this is nothing but a session, right? So which process is running currently on which bot, so all those information you can able to see it here. Okay, and if I go to the queue management, okay, I can see how many queues are available. Okay, and what is the status of that queues. Okay, how many items got completed, how many items are pending, how many items are marked as an exception. All those information I can able to see here, right? Same details you can able to see over here also. How many items are worked out, how many are pending, how many are marked as an exception, total count, what is the average case duration, what is the total duration, right? And which machine it has run. Okay, when it has run, what at what time it has been executed, if an exception, what kind of exception it has gone. So all these details you can able to see it in the queue management. And schedulers. Okay, in schedulers, like, okay, which process is here work running on which machine, okay, at what time it is running. All those information you can able to see it in the schedulers. Okay, next, analytics. So 99.99% of the organizations will not use this analytics. Okay, this is useful for preparation of the queue data. Next tab is releases, right? If you want to import or export the release from one environment to another environment. Let's say you completed your development in one development environment. You need to move the code to the UAT environment. How do you move it? Let's say UAT environment is done. You need to move the code from UAT environment to production environment. How do you done? By using this release tab, we can able to create the packages. Once the package is created, then we can able to create the releases. Okay, by using the release tab, we can able to create the releases, and we can able to move the code from one environment to another environment. Next, digital exchange. Once you click on the digital exchange, it will go to the digital exchange of Blue Prism. Okay, so here they have given the link to that. Okay, then here you can able to log into the digital exchange if you have the credentials. Then system tab. Okay, in the system tab, you can see some process related information it is available, right? And some object related information it is available, and resources, which is nothing but the number of bots. Okay, in the resources, pools management, and workflows like environment locking, queue details, and securities, like providing the accesses, which accesses need to provide to which user, right? And edit module, system module. All these things are available into the system tab. Okay, we will discuss all these things in detail. Okay, for the RPA development, what is required, what is the course content, that we will going to discuss everything. Then my profile, you want to change the password, you can change out, and if you want to log out, then you can able to log out from here, or you can able to log out from here. Okay, now let's go to the studio, right? As I said, more than 90% of the development time goes into the studio only. Okay, and rest to 10% goes into the control room, releases, and system. Okay, here we can able to see two modules. One is the processes and one is the object. Okay, let's go to the process. Let me create one group. Like this, we can able to create the groups. Okay, now you don't want to create the group over here, then you just delete it. If you wanted to create the group under default, you just create like this. Okay, in this group you can able to create the process. How do you create the process? Right click, create a process. Here you need to enter the process name. Okay, I will enter. I will give the process description. Okay, this process you need to provide the proper description about the process. Okay, for example, this is a payroll related process. Okay, this is payroll processing. Open the process after closing the wizard. Okay, once I finish, it will automatically open. Okay, this is how the process studio looks like. Okay, you can able to see all those options, and in the below left side you can able to see all these stages. Okay, we will going to discuss each and every stage theoretically as well as practically. Okay, so we will going to discuss all these items, whatever you can able to see it on the screen. We will cover all, almost all the topics. Okay, what exactly the process studio means. Okay, process studio is nothing but end-to-end flow diagram of the process. Okay, so you will design your process into the process studio. Okay, like designing the end-to-end workflow, calculation, manipulating the data, decisions, right, and implementing the business logics, everything you need to do it in the process studio. Okay, and we have one more module is nothing but object. Okay, this is nothing but object studio. What is the use of Object Studio? Object Studio is used to interact with the applications. Okay, Object Studio is used to interact with the applications. In Object Studio, we will not build any of the business logics. Okay, business logics and everything, calculation, manipulation, everything has to be done in the Process Studio. Okay, in Object Studio, we will interact with the application. Okay, interacting with the application, we will able to done by using the Object Studio. Okay, so we will have some additional, when we compare to Process Studio and Object Studio, both looks similar. Okay, I will open that as well when when we are discussing in detail regarding the Object Studio. So some of the actions will be added, additionally available in the Object Studio, right? Just like read, write, navigate, code, wait stages. So these are all the additional stages which will be available in the Object Studio along with the application modeler. Okay, Object Studio is meant to interact with the applications. Okay, Process Studio is nothing but all the processes we will going to design in the Process Studio, end-to-end workflow, along with that data manipulation, taking the decisions, right? So all those things are implementing the business logic, everything will be done in the Process Studio. Any queries, guys? Are we clear what we have discussed till now? Okay, silence means I'm taking as a
Yes, sir.
clear.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Here the table of content, right? What we will going to discuss. Here it is clearly mentioned over here. Okay, introduction, blueprism, robotics, automation, process studio, how do you run the process, basic skills, process validation, decision stage, calculation stage, data items, review, process flows, decision, circular path, controlling play, technique stage, breakpoints, collections and loops, layers of logic, pages for organizations, inputs and outputs, input parameters, stepping, and pages, data item visibility, data types, output parameters, data parameters, control room, process outputs, business object, object studio, uh, action stage, inputs and outputs, the process layer review, then object studio, creating an object, application modelers, spying elements, attribute selection, launch, wait, timeouts, terminate, write, press, attach and detach, read, actions, action inputs and outputs, data items as inputs, overview of error management, exception handling, recovery and resume, throwing an exception, measuring the current exception, exception bubbling, exception block, exception handling in practice, case management, queue items, work queue configuration, defer, attempts, pause and resume, filters, reports, additional features, save stop, collection actions, choice stage, logging, log viewer, system manager, object grouping, object references, import, export, release manager, and control-related exercise, order system process. Okay, advanced feature like undefined collection, data item initialization, data item exposure, typecasting, code stage run modes, initialization, cleanup, attribute match type, dynamic attribute, active, accessibility, application manager mode, global clicks and send keys, credentials, environment locking, command line, resource PCs. Okay, these are all the items we're going to discuss from tomorrow onwards. Okay, so these are all the contents which we're going to cover in this development course. Any queries, guys, before we wrap up? And from tomorrow
Yeah.
onwards, we will work on the actual tool. Okay, so tomorrow I will be going to explain one by one uh, the stages. Okay.
Okay. How much time it will take to conduct overall course?
Okay, so probably it will take 45 days. Okay, 45 days
Okay.
is the duration of this course. Okay,
Okay.
and Monday to
You will be
Saturday.
teaching Monday to
Sorry.
Saturday. Okay. You will be teaching whatever we do in the once we get placed into an organization. How will
Your
be the
voice
work
is your
environment?
voice is low. Can you please speak a little bit louder?
Hello.
Can you speak a little bit louder? Yeah.
Is it fine? Is it fine
Is it?
now? Is it fine? Fine now. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. 1 minute. 1 minute. I will be correct.
Okay. Okay. Or else you can type also. That is also fine.
Sure. I'll type.
Okay. Pawan says that how does Blue Prism differentiates from UiPath? Okay. See, there are some advantages as well as disadvantages when it comes to tool to tool, right? And in banking domains, right, specifically when you go for banking sectors like Dasho Bank or HSBC Bank or Wells Fargo banks, right, where they need more security, they will go for the Blue Prism. Okay, Blue Prism is costlier than the UiPath. Okay, and some of the organizations, okay, they don't have that much of security related concern, right? Then they will go for the UiPath, and UiPath is cheaper than the Blue Prism. And when it comes to development, we can develop very quickly on the UiPath when compared to Blue Prism. But by looking at the Blue Prism process, right, easily you can understand what is going on. Okay, where is the flow, what exactly the process is doing. But when it comes to UiPath, you can't able to see that flow on the UiPath because the activities will be available in another activities, right? So in a structure wise, you can't able to see the UiPath. Okay, and okay, how does the work will be in real time working scenarios once we get placed? Okay, let me stop the screen and recording.